Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, May the 7th. We're still in the coronavirus. I've got a pretty good little bit to read this morning, but I'll try to make it as quick as I can, and I'll do my best to make it interesting. But so I'm going to start in verse 41 of Mark 6. Can you believe Mark? I told you before, I really love the book of Mark. I'm in the King James Version. If you want to read along with me, I want to start at verse 31. And he said unto them, Come yourselves apart into a desert place, and rest a while, for there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure so much as to eat. So Jesus needed his quiet time. You know, you find him in the garden and things. And in this busy world, before the coronavirus, we needed times of to be alone, but now it seemed like maybe we get too much. But so they departed into a desert place by ship privately, and the people saw them departing, and many knew him, and ran afoot thither out of all cities, and outwent them, and came together unto him. What trouble they went through to just to be with Jesus. They ran afoot while they were in Jesus was in the ship. And Jesus, when he came out, saw much people and was moved with compassion toward them, because they were as sheep not having a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. And when the day was now far spent, his disciples came unto him and said, This is a desert place, and now the time is far past. Send them away, that they may go into the country round about, and to the villages, and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat. This man, Jesus, our Savior, he was so powerful that people would follow him into a desert to eat. So, okay, let's just keep on going. And he answered them and said, Give ye them to eat. We're looking for the minister to do it all a lot of times, but the elders of the church, he told them they're supposed to help feed the flock. And they said unto him, Shall we go and buy 200 pennies worth of bread and give them to eat? And he said unto them, How many loaves have ye? Go and see. And when they knew, they say 5 and 2 fishes. They had a correct inventory. They had about 5 loaves and about 2 fishes. They had 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And he commanded them to make all sit by companies upon the green grass. And they sat down in ranks by hundreds and by fifties. This took a lot of time to put people in order and set them. I'm talking about already hungry people. And when he had taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, he looked up to heaven and blessed, and brake the loaves and gave them to the disciples to set before them. And the two fishes divided he among them all. And they did all eat and were filled. And they took up 12 baskets full of fragments and other fishes. They weren't going to eat that again. So in a minute, maybe we'll talk about why did they take up the fragments if they weren't going to eat any of that again. And they did, when they that did eat of the loaves were about 5,000 men. Well, if there were 5,000 men, it's not even counting women and children. It could have possibly been 15,000 people that were there. 5,000 would be a miracle with 5 loaves and 2 fishes, but 15,000 if that be the case. And straightway he constrained his disciples to get in the ship and go to the other side before unto Bethsaida, while he sent away the people. And when he had sent them away, he departed in the mountain to pray. And when even was come, the ship was in the midst of the storm, and he alone on the land. And he saw them toiling and rowing, for the wind was contrary unto them. And about the 4th watch of the night he cometh unto them, walking upon the sea, and would have passed by them. But when they saw him walking upon the sea, they supposed it had been a spirit, and cried out. I probably won't say too much about this event on the sea. Maybe reserve it for another time, maybe. For they all saw him and were troubled, and immediately he talked with them and said unto them, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And when he went up unto them in the ship, and the wind ceased, when they were sore amazed in themselves beyond measure, and wondered, for they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. That's the way we are sometimes. There's going to be some miracles come out of this coronavirus. When we get to the other side of this storm, if you're not careful, you won't consider the miracles that happened. Jesus, he had done miracles kind of privately, the turning the water into wine and healing blind men and such. But this was, like I said, possibly 15,000 people leaving that place with a piece of fish or bread in their stomachs. I mean, and they probably went and told, ain't no telling how many. So now it's on. When his mother requested him to turn the water into wine, he said, "What have I to do with thee, woman?" I think is what he said. He wasn't trying to be disrespectful to his mother. He just knew that once he started doing miracles and healing people and feeding 5,000 men with 5 loaves and 2 fishes, that they were going to be after him, and they were. It takes something to draw a crowd of 5,000 men, and not counting women and children. I mean, that they would follow you in a desert without any prospects of anything to eat, not knowing where your food's coming from. And they stayed all day just to hear him. I think I told on a previous video, they had no microphones. They had no nothing like that. They were just in hopes that the wind would carry his force over to where they were at. The Bible is clear that man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. So these people, given a choice of bread or the word, they chose the word. And so at the first, we had a correct count, 5 loaves and 2 fishes. But now it's 12 baskets. It's multiplied that much. They only had 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Moses had a rod. Samson had the jawbone of a donkey. And now we got 5 loaves and 2 fishes, which anybody knows is not enough. And like I said, to set people in the 50s and 100s took a lot of time for hungry people. And also, he didn't count the women and children. It was just 5,000 men. So the little boy that had the lunch with the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, he wasn't even counted. What God uses, isn't that amazing? What God uses, sometimes other people don't even count. The boy had no name. I never heard his name. Nameless people help sometimes. So if you think you're not any help, just think about this little boy that we'll never know who he was. Until you become thankful for what's not enough, God won't provide what is enough. You have to be thankful before it comes. I know some people out there might be thinking, I know this house is not what I really need. I'd like more. Just be thankful for that one until he can get you. This job, boy, I'm tired of this job. This job is, and I know the Lord knows I want a different job. Why hadn't he answered me? Until you can be thankful for what's not enough, God won't provide you what is enough sometimes. So they had a correct inventory at the first, 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And now we got 12 baskets full. God and Jesus blessed it and broke it. If you refuse to be, that which refuses to be broken, refuses to be blessed. You know, we take the bread that's in a whole piece at communion, and we break it and we pass it around. If we passed the whole around, it wouldn't be enough, but once it's broken, I've been broken. So some people just want you to see that solid piece, the unbroken piece of them, so people won't, they'll think more of them. But if you allow yourself to be broken and show your wounds that I said on another video, you can help more people. When something is broken, it multiplies. And as I said a while ago, the 12 baskets fulls, that they wouldn't for another meal. They wouldn't saving broken pieces of fish and bread for another meal. He had, so I wondered, why did he take up those 12 baskets? He wants you to save those leftovers, so you can remember for another time. At the end of this coronavirus, we need to save these things that's happening, the good things that's happening to us, so that we can look at them again. You know, and he was in a storm after that. I'm not going to say much about that because I'm going to try to do it another time if I get to. But the ship was in a storm, and the ships don't sink because they're in the water. Ships sink because the water gets in them. We're not in trouble if we in difficult times, if we're going through trials. We only sink when we let the trouble get within us. If you were on an airplane, and if I was on an airplane and it hit turbulence, which they do seem like more than they need to, and I could see the stewardess in front of me, and she was just as calm as she could be, I'd probably be okay too. But if I saw her, panicking, then I'm going to panic. So I think that's what we ought to do. When my children were small, I never have liked tornadoes, but I tried to act calm because I knew that they were going to react off of what I did. So during this coronavirus, us ministers, elders of the church, there's younger people looking to us, and we need to not be showing panic. You know, over there, Joshua, when he went through the Jordan, I think it was, he told them to save the stones out of that Jordan, one for each tribe. And he said, whenever in time to come that your children say, what meaneth these stones? You can tell them that we were bondmen in Egypt and God let us out. So we can take this out, this coronavirus experience, and tell our children. So don't leave your trial until you have saved part of it. I don't think God gives people to the world. I don't think he gives ministers to a church until they have been broken themselves, because they're going to be dealing with broken people. And so if that's a part of being a candidate, I have been that. So I hope this has encouraged you today. I sure do. And I pray to God that he'll let me come to you with something else encouraging. If he will give it to me, I'll try to give it to you. So may God bless you till next time.